And we're back here and we're speaking about healthy living now, brought to you by Grace Medical. And with me this morning is Dr. Raquel Subir, who's an internal medicine doctor at Grace Medical. Good morning, Raquel.
Good morning, Carrie.
And
how are
welcome.
you?
I'm great. How are you?
Good, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being here. You're here to share some important things, in regards to things dealing with weight and weight loss.
Yes. So I just wanted to kind of say again the things that I always say. More and more people are gaining weight these days all over the world. But in the US, it's really becoming an epidemic. So I don't know if you knew, Carrie, that since 1960, the rates of obesity in the US has basically tripled. So it's now 60% of people.
Now, I knew it has been increasing, but I didn't know that it has gotten to that level. Like 60% of
people
everyone in the US
is either overweight or obese.
Wow.
And more importantly, almost 20% of children. So,
almost 20% of children.
One in five
and that's a
children.
horrible start to their lives.
To life, yeah, absolutely. And I think that if we reflect on Trinidad, we don't have actual data, but I think it's, one could extrapolate that I think it's pretty similar.
So why do you think we don't have that much data?
So we have some 2016 demographics, which looks at being overweight and obese, and the statistics are quite similar to the US, but not, right. We don't have, 2018, 2019.
So we are lacking data at this point in time.
But some is being collected at the moment. So when we think about this thing, obesity, we often don't want to use the word, and we think, what is the big deal about talking about it?
Right.
And it's really important to not necessarily use the word. You can use problems with weight or anything you want, but the fact is that it leads to all of these health conditions, starting from as early as your 30s.
So tell me about some of these health-related conditions that are linked with obesity.
Okay, so some of the familiar ones that we would know of is diabetes,
right.
High blood pressure, heart attack and stroke, but we often don't think about others like sleep apnea, right. Arthritis, problems with our joints as we get older. And there's also this issue, especially patients that I see, with this cluster of symptoms that can... Have you ever heard of the Metabolic Syndrome?
No, I have not gotten information on it.
Okay, so the Metabolic Syndrome is when you have high blood pressure, you have high cholesterol and high triglycerides, which is one of the components of that cholesterol.
That sounds almost like a trifecta of doom.
It is a trifecta of doom. You have high blood sugar and
right.
you have this central overweight problem here
right.
in the middle. And I see lots of patients with metabolic syndrome, and it's a real challenge. How do we get so once you get to that stage to lose weight? And it's really interesting and really good, because I see a lot of people who want to lose weight and becoming more and more health conscious.
Right.
And they don't want to go on to get these problems like diabetes and high blood pressure, but they don't really know where to start. And it's important to really try and start, because about 10 years before you actually develop diabetes, you develop something called insulin resistance.
Insulin resistance. Tell me a little bit about that.
So insulin resistance, in a nutshell, it's a very complex thing, and even, we don't fully understand it in medicine yet, but it's basically when you eat a load of sugar, your cells that are supposed to metabolize that sugar and use insulin to do that.
Right.
So insulin is the hormone that metabolizes the sugar to use it for fuel for your body.
Right.
It doesn't know what to do. So the sugar then turns into fat, and then the fat becomes its own organ. So releasing its own hormones and doing its own thing. So you are busy trying to lose weight, but you're fighting this battle against, the fat that you already have.
So the fat is creating their own hormones, as you said, and
yes.
These hormones are fighting against your body's hormones, basically.
So you get into this terrible cycle of eating, carbohydrate, sugar, and just storing it as more and more fat. And it becomes harder and harder to lose weight.
So are there ways to remedy that?
Yes. So I like to use the term eat for insulin. I always think about it in terms of, if you are going to eat a meal, you should think about, what is my body going to do with that food?
Right.
So I like low carb to a certain extent, low carbohydrate. So things like limiting your grains, your flour, and the load of sugar that you're getting from your
Right.
diet, and trying to think about what you're eating instead. So increasing the good fats so that it's less of a hit to your system and you can metabolize it easier.
So tell me about some of these good fats. Give me examples of good fats.
So good fats are called unsaturated fatty acids
Right.
and polyunsaturated fatty acids, and they're found in things like avocado, coconut, olive oil, olives. So extra virgin olive oil is my oil of choice
Right.
for cooking with. And lots of people say you can cook with extra virgin olive oil, and you can, but you have to just be careful that you don't get to the smoke point.
Right.
And trying to also increase your fiber intake alongside that. So in the form of fruit and vegetables, and obviously then other things that you can get fiber from, like flaxseed and chia.
All right. Well, Dr. Raquel Sukhbir, just tell us quickly,
That's
how
a
do
taster.
we... Yes, of course. It's a taster, small portion.
Small.
All right. So how can we get in contact with you to get more information on Grace Medical and things in regards to weight loss?
So you can call us on 235-3604 or check us out on Dr. Raquel Sukhbir at Grace Medical on our Facebook page.
All right. Well, Dr. Raquel Sukhbir, thank you so much
Thank
for all
you,
you've
Carrie.
shared. We could definitely have you back on the program to speak a little more on weight loss and some of the practices we can get involved in to improve our lives, improve our health.
Yes, because we have so much more to talk about. I'd love that.
Yeah, definitely. All right. So we have so much more, as she said, to talk about, but we're going to take a short break and we'll be right back.